Good morning and welcome to Your Daily Sparks. I was reading about Hannah, and in her day it was bad enough to be childless when childbearing was what gave women value, but then to be tormented by your rival, by the second wife, who had already borne sons to your husband. Hannah's own husband, he could see the grief in her life. She was grieving and her grief was great. And she poured out her heart to the Lord, and he answered her prayer and gave her a son. Her pain had transformed into joy. And Hannah made a promise to God in her hours of anguish, as many people do, but she decided to keep this promise. She said, Lord, if you give me a son, I will dedicate him to you, to be given to you, to be raised up and to be trained at God's service at the temple. Well, when you've experienced when have you experienced an amazing answer to prayer? Did you follow through? If you said, Lord, please, I promise I'll do this. Did you follow through on your promise like Hannah did? In Hannah's prayer of praise, you can see just how based on the word of God she was, just how close to the Lord she actually was. She praised God for his holiness, his steadfastness, his power, his protection, his strength. And she lifted up her precious son to God and she returned him to him. And he, of course, became the great prophet Samuel. God has given us so much, and too often we forget that what God has done for us and we simply take it for granted. I think today, why don't you be like Hannah? Why don't you give thanks? Why don't you say, Lord, if you answer this prayer, I am going to serve you and keep your promise to him. Because that's what Hannah did, and she was blessed. I believe you'll be blessed too if you keep your promises to God and if you rejoice and have a thankful spirit for all the many blessings he's given you. We'll see you tomorrow on Sparks.